Hello guys, welcome back to Unpack Your Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Perks, and today I have a good guest of mine. We're actually neighbors. Used to be friends back in the day. Life went in different paths, and realized that this guy I knew when I was in grade school, middle school, is now my neighbor after almost 15 years later, 16, 17 years later.
Oh, yeah.
So I would like to introduce my good friend, Jonathan. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a blessing to be on here.
Hey, man. I'm glad you came, man. I'm glad you came,
Definitely,
for sure.
I'm happy I got invited.
Yeah, for sure. He's a very smart brother. This is a very smart man, guys. So I'm going to pick his brain about a lot of good stuff, and I hope you guys get a lot of value from this. I know I'm putting you up there, but you better come with some good stuff, John.
Oh, man, I'm just asking God to lead me. That's all I say.
Amen. So for people that don't know you, give us a little bit about you, like what do you do, where you're from, what are the things you kind of live by, and a good elevator pitch for yourself.
Oh, man, I am an entrepreneur at heart. Been an entrepreneur. I did my first candy route in the 3rd grade. Been doing it ever since. Foster care kid. Man, came from nothing. Kid lived in abandoned buildings, cars, everything like that, man. And I've now been successful in business, real estate, marriage to the fullest.
Marriage,
friends. So just want to live that 120 life, man. That's all. So it's been a blessing. And so I specialize in business and credit. And I also have a couple other businesses, so try not to go back to the 9 to 5 ever again if I can.
Wow! So you did work 9 to 5 beforehand?
I did work a 9 to 5.
Okay.
I moved around a couple times. So my big thing is I always start with the base. Like, okay, get the 9 to 5. Build up your business in that city, in that area where the case might be, and go from there. So I did 5 years. I moved to Utah for 5 years, did 5 years in Utah.
I was like, hold on, that sounds like a penitentiary.
Yeah, definitely. I want to make sure
I did my time in Utah. I was like, what were they doing, bro?
No. So I moved to Utah for 5 years with me and my wife and my 3 kids now, and so I started building a business up out there, and so I started all over. I went and got a 9 to 5 as I built my businesses, and then we came back to California. So it's been a blast ever since.
So did you go to Utah to do the business and stuff out there, or was it?
Well, my wife, her parents moved out there probably like 12 years ago, and we wanted to try something new. We wanted to see something different, and realized that we love California. That's the best way to put it.
It's expensive, but
it is expensive. But I hear that from people that if they made enough money, that probably wouldn't be a conversation they would have.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
So nothing against nobody, but I'm saying if you was making good money.
You wouldn't be saying it.
You wouldn't be saying it like that.
That is very true. That's a good point. Because I hear everyone who moves out of state, they're like, "Oh, I'll never come back," and I'm like, "Why?" And it's like, "Oh, it's so expensive. You just wasting your money away." And I don't like, but I mean, I make enough, so I'm fine. I don't think it's a problem for me personally.
Me neither. I love California. Like I said, 5 years out, and I'll visit. I ain't going nowhere else.
So you would never move out of state again? Do you think you'd ever like really move to live somewhere else? Maybe would you move temporarily, like for a few years to
Maybe. It depends on where that's at. The only place that I've thought about that was maybe Hawaii, possibly Italy.
Hawaii.
That's about it. Other than that, I love California. I don't mind going to visit and
Italy
staying
too?
the long extended times, but Cali's where it's at. I can get where we at right now. I'm an hour away from the snow in the winter, and I'm go the other way. I'm an hour away from surfing. So how can you beat that right there?
So essentially, you Gucci then. Like you good.
I'm good. Anybody that says anything different, hey, more power to you, brother. But I made my stands.
All right. So I want to talk about, because you said you were in adoption and stuff and living in abandoned places. So you came from a very bottom place from a lot of people's perspective.
Yeah, I was in foster care for several years, and
for years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was no joke. So,
were you in foster care? Were you like jumping around different places, or were you in one main place?
We moved. Let's see, 1, 2, maybe 3 times.
3 times. Okay.
I'm one of 8. My 6. So my oldest brother. And then down, we all kind of split up. So it was my 3 youngest that stayed together. My sister went on right under me, and then my older brother went another way. So I was kind of by myself during that time. And
really?
It was interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting. My first one. I was with people that did not like me, not the parents, but the other foster kids. And so it was a uphill battle. That's all I can say for that.
Wow.
But,
wow, that's interesting.
You got to keep on living and keep on, moving forward. I understand that you have to be able to learn You have to learn and know how to be able to adapt. That is definitely one of the places I learned how to adapt, and also to be able to survive, because when there's people out there that doesn't have your best interest, you have to be careful of those people, because
for sure.
One thing I learned is, people that smile in your face ain't always your friend.
So, oh yeah. I learned that. That the hard way numerous times.
Definitely. So
wow. So you did kind of jump around a little bit in foster care and stuff, and then you came back with your parents.
Yeah.
And then so growing up, what do you think separated you? Because I hear a lot of people that will go with that situation and then have like somewhat of a, I mean, it's understandable, a victim mentality to a certain degree. Like, it's the world's fault this happened, and I don't have this because of somebody else or some circumstance. So what did you do different, like, to hold accountability for yourself, to put yourself in a position you're at now?
One of the biggest things is I never stopped learning.
Okay.
I had to continue to keep learning for myself.
Okay.
And then once I got more up in age, what I mean, towards that teenager age, I started realizing that it's not up to my parents anymore to take care of me.
For sure.
So if I stay that way, I give them the power. So my thing is, I have to own 100% responsibility of my own life. Like, there might have been things that happen in life that you can blame other people for. But as soon as you take that back and say, hey, this is what happened, and you grow from there, then you're able to take your life and not give anyone else's power from them to you, or vice versa. So you have to make sure that you'll be able to do that. And if you don't, then let's just say that one person that you're blaming all these years, whether you were raped or molested or whatever the case might be, or they couldn't live a good life because of this, like, whatever's going on with them at that point, you're allowing them to be able to affect you. So if they're having a bad day and you let them affect you, then guess what? Then they're able to control you for however long you give them that power. For sure. So I realized, like, hey, look, my parents are getting up. My dad's 71 this year. My mom just turned 60 on the 3rd.
Congrats.
So I realized, hey, they're getting up there. But even before they got here, I said, okay, I know I need to be able to make some shifts. And then once I learned about goals, not just about saying them, but actually writing them down, putting the subcategories, and start to say, these are the things that I want in my life, things began to change. And then, I'm a child of God, not knocking nobody else, but that's what I rap. That's what you believe. And it's really been transformational for my life, and it's been growing ever since. But there's 2 E's that I like to try to stick with, which is education and execution. You get those 2 right there, you're good. You're good to go. You got to take what you've learned, and then you have to apply it. People say, oh, knowledge is power. Man,
I think I agree with that statement, but only knowledge will only go so far if there's no action behind it. Well, it's even the same thing as like faith without works is dead.
Oh, that's
so you can just learn and learn and learn, but if you don't even apply any of the tools or skills or you learn, you just in the same boat, So
definitely, and you have to look at it from like the big goal, and then you have to look at it from a sub goal every single time, because if you do it that way, it doesn't get overwhelming. A lot of people don't even know what they want in life.
That's true. This is very true.
And so they have no clarity, and because they have no clarity, it looks fuzzy. Like everything will look good. Network marketing looks good, or being over here gangbanging, this looks good, or whatever the case might be. But if you don't have a clear understanding about, hey, this is what I want for my life, and how can I get there, then it's going to be difficult for you to be able to hit any targets. See, happiness comes from when you're progressing.
Yeah,
you know that you're progressing in the right forward, then you're able to be able to do a lot more things. You'll be able to have more confidence, things like that.
Yeah.
So you fail sometimes, but guess what? You got to get up and get going. I never say I failed. I only say I learned a lesson.
And that's a big thing. I think people, they associate failure with like a really negative like response, like immediately, like, oh, because like I messed up on doing this, maybe I shouldn't do it. And it's like, if you change your mindset to think of I messed up, to like I just learned what not to do. You can even put like I learned what not to do. Okay, it sounds much better than I messed up again.
That's true.
I didn't do it right. It's like it has a better outlook to keep you going on and pursuing that goal.
Oh yeah, man. I've played sports for a lot of my life, and so what I realized is that, hey, losing and learning your lessons is part of the process. When you shift your mind and say it's part of the process, then you understand that, okay, I'm going to have to go through these things. one of the things that I did understand young in my life is that there's people that's already been through what you're going through.
For sure.
So you're able to reach out, especially with the social media and YouTube and stuff like that right now. You're able to get access to people that you normally wouldn't be able to get access to.
For sure.
You know, coming up as an African American, man at this point, it's like how many things as I began to learn that I did not know and wonder why the race was never fixed in the right way for us to learn in the first place. Which is crazy. And then I started thinking it's not just about race, it's about education and the knowledge. Because if you're not seeking to be able to be a better student, to be able to go out there and get that information, then it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter, because you're not out there seeking that information that will make your life better. And
and that's a problem that I've seen, and I'm generalizing. So it's not like every person, but in the black community, I've seen a lot of that where people are entitled to think they should have something just because, without even having the necessary skills or the background or the knowledge, and then they say they don't get positions or certain things because of it's a lack of or because it's racist, or because, which I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is there are times where we just don't have the qualified skills. Yeah. And you think you should be in a manager position, but you didn't even take any managerial courses. You don't necessarily know how to lead anybody. Oh, yeah. But then you expect, because, you think you should do it. What have you done to pursue that? What have you done to put yourself in a position that you can actually show off the skills that are necessary for that actual job or for that position?
And that's true. That's when it comes back to clarity. You have to be able to have that clarity, because if you know that you want to have that goal of being a manager, okay, what are the sub goals that you need to be able to hit every day, every week, every month in order for you to be able to get to that position?
Right.
And if you're not willing to be able to do that, then you can't complain when somebody skips over you about doing it. And then there's times that you go and say, I've done everything to be able to get that position, and I've been skipped over.
Yeah.
Sometimes, man, you got to get out on your own.
Yeah, but one thing I would refuse to do is let the fact that because I'm black hold me back from anything. I would, if I have a goal that's that important to me, then nobody's gonna hold me back. I don't let it be up to, they didn't give me the job because I'm black. Or I'm gonna make the job. I'm gonna make that job myself. Or I'm gonna find another. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I think there's always another way. But I think that there's sometimes people use that as an excuse to not be where they're at, and it's like a comfort. Like, it's not my fault. So, it's their fault, so I don't have to feel as bad.
That's true. I realized that it was not a race thing. It's about the haves and the have-nots.
Yes,
that's what it comes down to.
And
it's not about just money. It's about information. It's about knowing the right connections. It's about be able to get out there and be able to introduce yourself to people, so you can be able to get that information. Go out and seek it. If you want to go out,
I agree.
And I say this in a way where I hope to be relatable. Like, you'll search, find, and beg to be able to go find the Jordans when they were hot. When the retro 8s came
out. Yes, this is true.
You'll go around many stores to be able to find those shoes there, just to say you can have them. But at the same time, you won't go around to the different libraries, to YouTube and stuff like that, to be able to get the information to either change your life or to make your whole generation better. And if you're not able to do that, then you have your priorities mixed up. But you are clear about getting those Jordans, and that's why it's easy for you to be able to hit that goal, because you are pursuing that, because you have that clarity, and say, hey, look, now you're making subcategories. Okay, they don't have it at Topanga Mall, I'm going over here. They ain't got it there, I'm going to Vegas. But those are small little goals that you are actually putting in place to be able to make sure that you get that. And most people don't realize that. They're just thinking, I'm after these shoes, but you're actually using the principles that will actually transform your life, and you don't even know it.
So a lot of people do maybe have the skills, they just don't realize they're not applying it in the areas that they can develop in a different way. I mean,
they apply it in minor things instead of the major things that happen,
like consumer kind of things.
Well, from the standpoint of this, are you going to be able to major in having good credit when you turn 18, so you can be able to buy real estate, be able to make sure that you can get in your place? That's a major thing. Or are you saying, hey, look, I'm going to make sure that I major in being the best well-dressed if you don't have a business? Or, hey, look, I'm going out here, I'm going to find out how to make this, how to make that, but you never apply any of that information to be able to get a job or to be able to build a business. So you major in minor things, and that's where you mess up.
You major in minor things.
And that's where it's at.
That's really true. Yeah. Honestly, I agree. And it's hard because as the way I grew up and just being a black man, the things that we were shown and taught were like material stuff. Like, you know, like it was shown in your face of like you getting these Jordans, or you getting the new phone, or you get the new watch, or you get the new car, or you get the new house, or you know, these things are supposed to fulfill you and make you happy, which in turn, I get why people are chasing after that, because it's kind of what's been bred into culture, into society, you know. But what I think that some people are missing out on is like, you can look at these things as happiness up front, but you're really what you're looking for is actually happiness. But you're chasing the carrot and not the actual thing behind the carrot. Yeah. You know, and a lot of times I think we confuse certain particular things with happiness, even certain goals is a happiness compared to like the happiness is the process of going to the goal. It is. And so that's one thing I think that a lot of people miss out. And I've done this, you know, for years. Like I didn't realize that until recently. But like the happiness for me is enjoying the process of getting the goal.
That's true.
If I can figure out how to enjoy the process of getting the goal more than the actual, you said the key?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a key to actually what you just said was, there is experiences that we are after.
Yes.
It's a feeling that we're after. Those Jordans are experience.
Right.
That vacation is an experience. So when we talk about happiness, we're actually looking for feelings. That's what we're actually looking for. And sometimes you get that from other things. Some get it from traveling. Some get it from being well dressed. Some get it from sex. Some get it from their parents, their family.
For sure. Sex is a good one. I'm not gonna lie. It's a great experience.
But let me tell you something.
Just been out there.
Sex will make you do some things you got to pray to God about. Like how did this happen? Like my motivation just went up 1,000%. You said I can do what if I do what?
It's like, wait a minute. Hold on.
Whoa, that cookie jar. No.
Oh my God,
okay,
that's funny.
Well, I want to be real. I want to be real and honest. So I want to, man, it's for real.
I mean, it is a huge motivation. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of men like chasing after that stuff. You know, like you do a lot for that. You know, as a man, like I've seen men go out of their way and just do crazy backward stuff against their principles.
Come on now.
For it, you know, so it's a very strong influence.
Come on,
very strong. Influence.
What would you do for that Klondike bar? Boy, let me tell you something.
Some people do a lot. You know what I mean?
Boy, I tell you, it's no joke.
That's why you gotta wait, because once you have the appetite, it's kind of dangerous. You know, so you gotta be careful.
It is. So some people, I say, just wait as long as you can. Because boy, that appetite is hard to fulfill sometimes.
For sure.
But it's something that's manageable if you take the time to be able to learn. So
you know that's a place that for me it's a struggle, because it's something that it's like I want it and I know it's a natural desire, and it's hard to, you know, when you have the feeling or the urge, it's very hard to tame sometimes, because it's it's so much and it's so intense, and then trying to fight that is draining on its own. Trying to put away the emotion of I want to go make love to my wife or whatever, and it's like no, and then it's like this built up tension is there.
Ooh, yeah,
so
boy.
What do you do to manage that when it's the times where it's like is there like do you go and work out or something? I don't know.
It all depends. I'm gonna be real. It all depends.
Yeah, you know.
So what it comes down to for me is that I have to make sure that I manage it in a way where it's beneficial for me and my wife.
Understood. Okay,
gotcha. If I don't, then, you know, I can let that desire take over. It'll be, you know, 4 or 5 times a week you trying to go for it. And then all of a sudden it's just like, wow, like.
For sure.
I give her no rest time. She, you know, she's raw now. She can't do nothing. It's like, oh, man, but no, I want more. I want more. But it's like really looking at what you're trying to be able to do. And I realized that, you know, sex from the standpoint of a man and a woman is that I feel like a connection. That's what I feel like with my wife. I want to have that connection where I feel intimacy. Like no one else has that with her. And so, you know, I have 3 kids now, so a lot of our time gets shared. So it's just like, I know that's one thing, like, okay, this is just me and her, nobody else. For sure. We can be able to connect. So I know it's just us building. You know what I mean? I get that. And so one of the things I had to learn was there's more ways to connect than just that. And if you base just your intimacy on just a sexual activity, then you will be heartbroken if you don't get it all the time. And so that's what you have to look at. Another thing that you have to be careful of too is that if you might not be getting it as much as you like, you have to make sure that you don't number one, stray. Number two, watch out for those adult pornographic
for
things
sure.
that will make you say, which was crazy because you think you're fulfilled from that, but it actually makes you want it even more because now you're like, I want to try this, or I want to get this done. I want to play out this fantasy, but then it's like that is readily available all the time, and your wife or your spouse is not always readily available to do that, and so now you get even more frustrated because it's just like, wow, like, why are they not like this where I can be like this? And
right.
It was something that you had to really work on. So I know for me personally, I heard something that about 2 weeks ago that made me kind of shift on the things that I want to be able to do for that in that situation is, are you letting her, from a man's perspective, are you letting her have the role of just being a woman? And what I mean by that is she having to do manly things? Is she having to go out to be able to work because she has to and not because she wants to? If she has to worry about all the bills that needs to get paid?
Right.
If she has student loans that are not paid, why you out here clubbing and doing all this stuff, she doesn't have that safety and security. And if she doesn't have that, then you're trying to make her perform as your wife, and then having to take over some of the manly duties because you're not able to perform the way you need to.
Right. I agree.
It brings the stress onto them, and then we get frustrated because they're not wanting to do the things that we want. So as I started to shift for that too, like, okay, how many things am I thinking that might be a manly situation that my wife is trying to have to take care of? Let me try to take that off of her plate so she can do what she needs to do, as in to be just a woman, so she can do that.
Sure.
And there's a very big difference, slight but very big difference, from having to work and wanting to work.
I agree. I agree. And that's a very big deal. Like just from I've heard, like this is not women, but the women I have a discussion with. Like having security is an extremely big deal.
It is.
I mean, to the point where like their mind won't even ever be interested on like having sex with your partner or anything, because like their mind is so focused on like, I need to be comfortable, I need to be a secure place, which I get it, I understand. I may not, agree mentally with it. I mean, I can just security, no security, I'm good to go. But as men, we got to understand.
We thinking with the wrong head. That's all. It's the wrong head.
Because I got no security. Be like, okay, let's get this done. We can do this real quick, and then I'll worry about my security. But with women that I've talked to, it's not the same. We are polar opposites. In that,
and they just want the safety, so they know that whatever's going on, that they don't have to worry about something getting taken, or whether they have to worry about, hey, look, how are we gonna pay these bills? Like your wife, like just think about it as a man. You're like, when you have to think about the things that you have to take care of, like, oh, you know what, I need to be able to pay these bills, or we gotta make sure the car note's paid, or hey, look, we gotta make sure that if you're older, like, hey, we gotta make sure our kids get through school, private school or college, whatever this might be, and you want me to sit down and have sex with you when I don't even know whether we're gonna be able to pay the car next week? Like,
our priorities are way different.
Do you think, how do you mentally think that I'm gonna be wanting you if you are putting me in a position where I'm not secure?
I understand that. I mean, it's hard to hear, but I get it.
It is hard to hear, but it's the truth. It is definitely the truth. So you just have to be able to understand how to be able to shift as a man, so you can be able to make sure that you are able to own your life, because your wife is part of you, but she came into your world, and if you're not able to take care of her in the way that she needs to be taken care of, let me tell you that they can stray if you allow that to happen, because you're not taking care of yourself. Unfortunately, we are in the ocean, and there's a lot of sharks out there.
This is true. That's very true, though. That's very true.
And you think that nobody's after your wife or nobody's after your husband, but there are people out there. There are people that had waiting, that had broke relationships, abusive relationships, that would love to take your spouse off your hands. So if you're not doing 120, man, you really are putting yourself in a dangerous position. I'm not saying that they're not loyal on both sides. What I am saying is that the more you can do to be able to show security for your spouse, the better it will be for your case, your sanity, and the things that you need to do in your life. If you haven't figured it out, then it's green light to be able to go look for. You have to be able to go and say, hey, look, these are the things that she needs help with. Whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual. And women are very emotional. And because they're emotional creatures, they have to have that connection first. If they don't have that connection, then it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to connect with you and submit to you. And that's it's so interesting, because like as men, especially from the Bible, it's like we hear that term about like,
wives submit to your husbands, and like husbands love your wife like Christ loved the church, you know. And I think the problem is that men forget like love your wife as like Christ loved the church, meaning to give your life and all, even your sexual desires.
That's true.
Like, you know, it's out of your control. I mean, if you really want to be about that scripture, you know, then you're telling your wife to submit. But are you really loving her as Christ, like giving your all to her? That means even your sexual desires you want to have when she don't want it, are you willing to let it go? You know, like that's the thing that men we got to talk about more. Yeah, because we all hear the submit to your wives, and every man's like, yeah, you're not listening. You know, I've heard this. I heard this so many times. Like, are you not? You don't want to. You know, you're not letting me lead, or you don't want to listen when I tell you to do something. Yeah. But then, are you actually loving your wife like Christ loved the church? Are you really giving your all? Are you putting all your own personal stuff aside for her? You know,
that is true.
So like there needs to be. There's two sides to everything.
Oh yeah, and I like questions. Questions make it a lot easier for you to be able to expand your mind. So when you think about that, you should be asking yourself, how easy am I making it for her to submit?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Are you making it easy for her to submit? Are you taking care of what you need to take care of? Are you helping her financially? Are you making sure that her spiritual person is fed? Are you making sure that her emotional side is fed? Are you making sure she's having that connection with you so that when she's done with the kids, like, hey, look, I want to talk to an adult. Like, I'm tired of being around kids. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to talk to somebody and not just be able to vent and be able to know that they can come there and not be judged. That makes it easy for them to be able to submit. But if you don't do that and you're not giving anything or putting her in a worry or an unsafe situation, then it's going to be a lot more difficult for her to overcome that because you haven't taken the time to make it safe for her so she can be able to operate as a woman.
Right. I agree that. And then I think for men too, a problem is because I think that I've seen is that men have a hard time opening up. And I think what I've come across with different conversations with different men is like they don't want to necessarily open up fully and give a woman that full vulnerability because they're afraid that they might, you know, take that vulnerability and, you know, hit them with it later, you know. So I think on both sides, like, you know, also men, it's like, if we want our wives to be submissive and open and, you know, all this stuff, it's like we got to lead by example as well. You know,
definitely.
It's lead by example, but also take care of your stuff.
Oh, yeah. So,
you know,
what happens in that situation is that you haven't been taught to vet correctly. And because you haven't been taught to vet correctly, those early relationships make you shift and mold who you think women are or men are. So you might have had that bad relationship where he cheated on you. And then all of a sudden, you now associate all men.
Right. Or when you say vet, like, can you just clarify? Because for everybody listening, because I want to make sure we get exactly.
Okay, so what I mean by vet, depending on your age, I'll just say at a young age. Let's just say young, 16, 17, 18. What are some of the things that are the qualities that you need to be able to take care of that other person? Okay. How are they mentally? Yeah. What is their background? Are their parents in their life? Are they a single parent, raised by a single parent? Are they adopted? Are they mentally healthy?
I got you. So more the background of the person.
More background of the person, because if you're taking the time to be able to even date that person, or hey, look, you might have some crazy girl that you come up on, and she looked pretty as all get out, but then you realize that she got 3 baby daddies, and all of them come on now, and all she heard was "I love you," and that's all it took to spread them legs. Like,
you got
It's a bad thing, and then you have to look at, are they broken? Has somebody broken them?
Right.
They are in pieces, and because they're in pieces, anything will look good to them. And do you take advantage of that, or do you take the time to be able to help build that back up? Because you're going to be fighting a lot of barriers in that situation.
For sure.
When you're vetting, you have to be able to look at that. When you get older, things start to change. Me and my wife actually went on a date where we were starting over in a way like, hey, like, what is going on? We wanted to be able to have exercise to be able to say what's going on in our lives right now. And the way I presented it, she said I would take the time to go on a date with you later in the future. And the reason I was checklisting. Hey, look, what is your credit like? Like, how many kids do you have? Like, I already knew these questions, but these are the questions I was asking, because now when you get older, you have to make sure that it's somebody that is bringing something to the table. Because if you're having somebody that you have to build up all the time, but you're dragging them to get there, then it's going to be a lot more difficult to run with somebody that says, hey, I'm established, I'm working, I got my own business, or hey, I'm doing my 9 to 5, I got my credit together, I'm making sure that I got these. Or even a person that says, I don't know about all these things, but I'm willing and I have the ambition to be able to move forward. And I've show you that I can do this. Look at my library. Look at the books that I'm reading.
Like you see me doing work. Yeah,
Come on, like those are the things. But if you take the time to be able to vet those people, depending on your age, we'll be able to save you a lot of headache.
That is true, because I had to learn to do the hard way. You know, I was in a crazy relationship too, and it was horrible. I didn't have these skills to vet. I didn't know how to vet. I didn't even, I think from coming up from a broken family, that kind of played a part in it. And then also like my mindset, I don't think I really loved myself as much as I should have at that point. And I let things happen and things go on. So I agree wholeheartedly. And I think one thing you got to realize too is like, you're at different ages, you're at different stages in life. And then, so like you got to realize like, even if you get married 21 and you get married to the love of your life, everything's good, her head's on straight, whatever, you guys priorities in check, you got to remember that like you guys are also growing and evolving into different people. Like you're not going to be the same person 31 when you're 21. That's true. You may have some like maybe the same core principles, but you may not like the same stuff, you may not like doing the same stuff, so I think that we got to understand that like it's a ever long growing process. It is. And you're not going to be the same. Like my wife is not the same from 2 years ago till today. Like, she's not the same person. Like we've grown in different ways and we've seen different things. Like we've matured at different things, so like it wasn't the same as it was 6 years ago when we started dating, That's true. And That's so one true. Thing, and I think as men, I think we it's like the dynamic I've seen of men and women are, and I'm paraphrasing and generalizing, is not for sure for everybody. I see a lot of women who find a man and they see the potential he has in him, and they want to push that, and they going after the potential, even though there's always a chance that man may never live up to his full potential. That's true. So they're falling in love with the idea of who he could be compared to necessarily who he is. And then true. Men, we also look at the woman, we see her, and we're like, okay, this is what we want, but we don't realize like women are also growing and evolving and changing as well. That's so true. 5 years in, you're like, you're not who you used to be, but it's like, of course I'm not who I used to be exactly. I've been growing. So men always want the woman to stay how it was in the beginning, and women sometimes want their man to evolve to the place that they see he could be. And I think that shift, it's somewhat problematic, because it's almost like you're setting yourself for failure to a certain degree. Set yourself up to not failure, but like it'll become a problem, because if you're looking at it like she should stay the same and she's like you should be here, which is not wrong to help foster your man to get better. But if you only set up for that, it's like he may not become that and she may not be the same. Yeah, definitely. And it's a harsh reality, but I'm going to say it anyway, where it is. People are lazy and they are unaware. Yeah. And you think that because she was 16, so I got with my wife at 16 years old. We've been together. We've been rocking ever since. How do you know? How old are you now? I'm 33 now. So wow. Yeah, I'm 33. So we've been together. It's a long time, and that's a very interesting age, because you guys are kids. Yeah, we're still kids, and we just celebrated 10 years together. Congratulations, married. Actually on the 14th of August. So we got 10 years married, my birthday. And we got 16 years together. Wow. And so it's been a blessing. But I've known her since we were 14. So more than half of our lives we've known each other. Wow. And, okay. So we need some tips for, because you got young age and long-term marriage. Okay. Yes. And you're far ahead of the curve than people I know at my age normally. I understand. So we need some tips on what is for you. Give me some tips on ways you dealt with conflict, because I'm sure you've had conflict with your wife or whatever. You guys had different opposing views, and I'm assuming. Yeah. How do you guys deal with that to where you come out better on the other side? Well, first, what we did, which is one of the things I've always, felt good, is we got mentors. We got marriage counselors before we got married. Okay, good. So you're smart about it. Yeah, so we went and got that, and they gave us a lot of tools that we used that helped us out quite a bit. And we've been together for so long, we started to learn. So what happened was her parents moved out of state, and because her parents moved out of state, she said, "I'm not going with you," and she stayed. So we stayed back in California. Okay. They moved to Utah. Ooh, that was wow. So when they moved to Utah, my wife said, "I'm not going," and so she said, "I'm going to be with you, and we're going to be together." And so the fortunate, unfortunate, and I just keep it real as I can. Yeah, for sure. We were able to iron out a lot of kinks that most people can't do because they wait for marriage, and nothing wrong with waiting for marriage. But when you find out the things that when they come visit. And when they live with you, boy, I tell you, it's a big difference. Like, look, you don't close the cabinets.
you're not as organized as I am. Why the clothes on the floor? Like all these things that we learn when we get married, and then we wonder why it doesn't last. Like I believe in God, and I believe in waiting until you're married, things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, it goes back to what I was talking about with vetting, and it might be a double standard or me double talking, but man, test drive that bad boy before you go ahead and make the purchase, because you got to look at it from this standpoint. Like once you make a commitment, especially for marriage, if you really honor that commitment, you said through sickness and health, through ups and downs, you said that you would be able to do those things. Now, if you're lying to your spouse and God, man, that's going to be on you.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you are going to honor that, then you have to realize that there's going to be some things that you learn. There's one thing that I always stand by is he who picks the rose must bear the thorns. Every rose has thorns. No matter how fine they are, no matter how good looking they are, no matter how his body look, how much money they make, everyone has thorns. But can you handle them? Yeah. And if you can't handle them, then you need to make sure that you take the time. Because me and my wife, before we got together, we talked for a year. She wanted to get like right in, just hey, look, me and you. I'm like, no, I want to take my time. And because of that year, I started to learn more things about her, and I realized, okay, this is the one that I want to be with. She knew a lot sooner than I did, but it worked out quite a bit better than to just rush into
right away.
Because then once we moved in with each other, still with my parents because we were young, whatever the case might be, and so it made it where we got to see the little nuances before we got married. And because of that, it made us be able to roll out all those. And then we got married at 23. And so then it was like, okay, great. Now, most people are like, oh, we had a baby. Now it's time to get married. We weren't in that position. We were, we didn't have any kids yet. I was, making good money. We were still going to school and stuff like that. So it was a good thing. It was a good thing. She was in college. I was still running my businesses. And then we made the decision, okay, we're going to get married. It's a funny situation, but, for another podcast.
For sure.
It was kind of like, all right, we're gonna get married. It's like no proposal or nothing, like just like we're just gonna get married. It's like
we get married.
Whoa, okay. So
we're here.
I got some secrets about that too that I'm gonna be revealing to my wife, so she doesn't know yet. But I want to do it properly. That's what I'll say. I want to do it properly. But it helped us out. It helped us out quite a bit.
It's interesting because like my philosophy was different because like I lived with somebody before and it was horrible. It was horrible. It just wasn't. I mean, we weren't good together in general. Yes. So, like, living together was just miserable. So, this time around with my wife, we didn't even move in until we got married. Okay. I was very adamant about, we were both on the same page. She had lived with somebody, too. It didn't work. I did, too. It didn't work. Okay. And so, we decided when we first started dating was, like, we're not living together until we're married for sure. And we waited, but we also spent a lot of time together. Okay. She never actually moved in until we got married, but she was here a lot. I was over there. We spent all the time together. Yeah. So it was kind of like we were living together, but I will say once we moved in together,
it changed everything.
It really like I see so much more, and she sees so much more of me.
It's a big difference.
So
I'm telling you, people think that we're spending all the time together. Move in with somebody.
You'll living
really
together.
See what's going on. Like
living together is way different. Way different.
2 weeks ago, you didn't have this many clothes on the floor. Like 2 weeks ago, you weren't telling me I couldn't have none. Like you were like, come on, let's do it. Now it's like I don't feel like it. Like whoa.
I didn't realize how unclean I was compared to my.
Come on now.
Because men, we like to quick clean. The girl coming up, like, come on, let's clean it real quick. Yeah. And then when we was living, it's like all right, you kind of see in the real, like it's not a So I realized how unclean compared to my wife was because she's a lot more clean than me. So.
Oh Jesus, this is being recorded. I don't know what I should say or what I shouldn't.
I would say my wife is a cleaner one for sure. For me.
I think I'm the cleaner one. You know what it is? It makes me think better, so it makes me want to stay more organized and clean. That's what it is. My wife, she's more of she knows where everything's at in the clutter.
Okay, I guess so. It's her chaotic, like her control chaos kind of thing.
Yeah, in a way.
But as long as she knows it, it's fine.
She knows it, but me, it drives me crazy. I'm like, no.
Like everything has a place.
I want in, not OCD, but it's just like, can I just have it clean?
Yeah.
Because then it makes me think better, it makes me operate better. Then I know where stuff is at, and it's like, man, like I literally set this there yesterday. Why is it gone?
Like why is it? And it's like my socks are in the top drawer. My shirts are in the middle drawer.
Come on,
and my pants. I mean, I literally lay it out this way: underwear and socks. Shirts, pants. There's no confusion. Why are my underwear in their drawer? Or why are they? First of all, why are they with the shirts? There's nothing to do with bottom half here. I can understand the pants.
Yeah.
But like the underwear in my shirt drawer makes no sense. And I'm just like, all right, it is what it is.
I don't understand why my stuff is out of place when I wash my clothes. Like, why?
Thank you.
Why? What's going on? Like,
and how am I losing stuff? I wash my own clothes. Why is it disappearing? I don't understand.
Let me tell you something. I have just one bad thing that I have. And I know it sounds crazy.
Okay.
But I do not like washing my socks. Not because I'm a dirty person.
Okay.
When they go to the washer and dryer, I never see them again.
You know what's weird? Okay.
I buy more socks because I don't want to lose them. And I only wear black socks. I don't wear any white or anything like that.
Okay.
By the time I finally find them again, I've already bought 2 or 3 more packs of them.
Where it's I'm not going to lie. I had this dilemma for years. Okay. Yes. I would say until the last, 3 years, I had the dilemma.
Yes.
I would lose socks. I thought I was like, I'm waiting until I die to ask God, like, where do these socks go? Because I don't really understand how they would disappear, right? But what I've learned, which I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. But once I started finding like actual kind of crazy different socks, I don't lose socks anymore, really. Like, honestly, because all my pairs of socks are all different, unique. I don't really have any set like one color socks anymore. Like even the ones I'm wearing now, they have like little beer cups on them.
Oh, so
so like all the socks have one individual pair. So every time they get washed together, and I usually wash my own socks anyway. So as long as I wash my own clothes and my own socks, they don't disappear anymore. But before the dryer, I don't know when, from the washer to the dryer to upstairs, they would vanish.
Come on.
So maybe you just got to buy individual looking socks. That might help.
This is the thing. My wife, me, and my oldest son all like wearing black socks. So we all commingle the socks all together.
Gosh, that's why.
I wear a size 12. I don't understand how you, as a size 7 in women's,
wearing my socks.
Wearing my socks. Like
these don't even feel comfortable. They shouldn't even feel comfortable at this point.
What is going on? Like, you got the top heel
part should be at the back of your Achilles.
But it's at your calf.
I already know.
It's too big.
I already know.
But so now I'm like, okay, now if I wash my own stuff, I know I can get my own stuff back.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. The first thing I'll grab is my socks. I'll roll them up so I can make sure I have, and put them in a separate pack by myself, so I'll make sure I keep up with it.
That's so
then
funny.
I'll fold everybody else's clothes. So I said, you know what? I don't need you guys to make sure that you guys wash anything anymore. I'll go on Sundays and I'll wash all the stuff.
Just don't wash my clothes at all.
Don't. No, look, I'll wash everything.
I'll
take the time out, put it in my schedule to wash everything, because I want to make sure I get my stuff back.
You are a schedule guy.
Oh yeah, sure. I have to because if you don't schedule it, then you just playing.
You leave it up to chance. I feel like leave it to chance. Yeah.
Too many things will come into your life and say, "I want your time."
Yeah.
So if you don't take the time to block it out, like an appointment for a doctor, then it's a high chance that it won't happen.
So how did you get yourself in the routine of making like scheduling everything? Because I don't know, were you always like schedule my time, or was it something that you kind of developed and like grew into doing?
Well, I played a lot of sports, so I was always regimented on a lot of things.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
then when I started realizing that everybody wanted more and more of my time, I had to start scheduling it. And then I started to prioritize more, because I realized that you can get unbalanced very quickly if you don't schedule and make those important priorities. But it goes back, like I said, to be able to have those goals. What are you trying to do? I want great experiences with my kids and my wife. So anything else outside of that is only secondary outside of God.
So have you ever had a problem with telling people no? Like I can't do this. Like, was it ever been a problem for you? Is it something that you always been like, when you know it's important, you don't care about what they say?
Actually, that's one of the reasons I actually moved to Utah, to be honest with you, because I was at the point in my life at that point where it was hard for me to say no.
Okay.
But mostly to inner family.
So were you somewhat of a like yes man type of thing because of like family and
I wanted to help as much as I could, even when it hurt.
I understand.
Then it started to hurt too much, and then it started to affect my family. And so that was another reason, like I said, that I made the choice or decision with my wife to be able to move. And one of the things that we did was we made sure that we made the decision together, because what happened was, some things started to go up and down, because my wife's father-in-law, well, my father-in-law, I should say, my wife's stepfather, we butt heads all the time. We butt heads, you know what I mean? So, some things happen where it's like, okay, this is kind of up and down, or the case might be. But at the same time, it was like, because we made this decision together, we're not able to blame one another. Like, you the reason that we came up here.
I was like, you thought this was a good idea,
you thought
and now it's terrible. But
because we made a decision together, it made it easy to say, okay, now how are we going to get through this? That's one of the things I tell my wife. Okay, we have a mantra. hey, look, anything that happens in our life, we can make it through together. And so
good.
if we speak that, and you speak those things that are not as though they were, I continue to speak those things, and whatever comes up, we'll be able to get through it from that standpoint.
And that's good, because it's hard to find equally yoked or almost equally yoked person, you know.
I think we've had some development, brother. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's been
okay.
You see some of my wife's high school pictures, brother. Jesus. You see some of my. I like well dressing and making a lot of money. My wife was on a. Let's just say she used to wear a lot more makeup.
Okay, gotcha.
Like powder and foundation.
Okay.
And, you know, she was putting her eyebrows on before it became a trend. So I definitely understand. Like, it was no joke. But then I had to grow up too, because I'm like, man, I just want to make money. I don't want to do nothing else. Like, dress, make money, chase women. I'm like, that's what else I need to do. And then it was like sideburn on the women. I'm making more money. I forget all you guys. Forget that. So it's been a lot of development. It's been a lot of growing. It's been a lot of growing.
I bet.
Definitely.
So I do want to skip into something else, like more about, because we got the relationship stuff. I want to talk about a little bit about business.
Okay.
And because you said you worked 9 to 5 for years to set up yourself for entrepreneurship and stuff.
No,
I mean, somewhat. No? Okay.
I've had 3 9 to 5s in my entire life.
And what's the duration of time for all those to last? Like compiled, like what would you say? How much?
I would say
it's a couple years you worked 9 to 5, or
combined between the 3, maybe 3.5 to 4 years.
Okay, that's so if you're out of your life, you've worked 3.5, 4 years of 9 to 5.
9 to 5.
So would you say you feel more comfortable in an entrepreneur type of a 9 to 5 business? Do you feel more comfortable there, or what is more comfortable for you?
Well, because I've learned a lot in my life, and I want to be able to portray this to people. 9 to 5 is not the end destination. It's just the base to be able to get what you need. See, I use a 9 to 5 to invest in assets. Assets bring more money. Soon enough, you invest in enough assets, you don't need the 9 to 5 anymore.
That is very true.
I need to be able to hold on to this 9 to 5 because I'm scared that I'm not going to make enough money. But if you have the proper training and you understand, like, these are the things that pump money into me, into my life, then enough of those, then you can be able to go ahead and say, all right, now I'm able to let this go. Yeah. But most people are like, I can't do that. No, my family is okay. But then the reason you're not able to do that because you don't have a plan to be able to exit.
And on top of that too, I don't even think people like have a financial plan or even know like what do they actually need to survive every month. Yeah. Like the exact number, like not a round. It should be like you should have almost a definite number. Like I need this much before I could leave my 9 to 5. Like the minimums, the bare minimum is what you need. Not like I want my Spotify account and all this other. It's like unless you really need that, but what you actually need, like concrete the amount. Oh yeah. Because then you can actually base, okay, if I can make this many sales or do this or have this many assets come in, then I don't even need to work. But I don't even think a lot of people have that concrete answer. And it goes back to what I said before, having that clarity, man. Yeah. You don't know. If you knew how many people were actually just surviving, it would scare you. It would scare you. I don't know. Really. And what I mean by surviving is like if they miss one paycheck, it's going to be all bad. So, that's crazy. Man, it's seriously, that's the way it is. That's crazy because I'm just like, that's really crazy to me because I'm just like, I don't know, like, I mean, I was like that when I was younger though. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really think about the future. I mean, I didn't, to me, it was just like work and make some money and do what I want. It was no long-term, no like long-term goals, no like long-term financial plan, no like exit strategy out of a 9 to 5. Like none of that was actually in my radar. I mean, honestly, I just didn't know. I was never taught it. Thank God I went to my church, which my pastor always preached about owning your own and starting your own business. I mean, always he's talking about ownership literally since I've known him. And, after you hear that for a couple years, kind of start to click, But I think maybe people don't have that information, maybe. I don't know. Well, they don't have that information because it was never taught to them. We live in a system. And if you don't get out of the system, you are only a cog in the system. That's true. You are supposed to be, let's go back to where it first started. So it was plantation owners and plantation workers. Yeah. The boss and the employee. Right. People think that we're out of slavery, but we are far from it. I agree. We are far from it. If you get reprimanded, you get written up. It used to be lashes, or whatever the case might be. Now it's a warning or a write-up. Or a write-up. Or, hey, look, we're about to terminate you. That is actually very similar. It is. That is extremely, like scary similar.
It is.
I didn't actually think of it I never thought of it like that.
It's the truth, though.
Wow.
It is the truth. But think about this. Hey, look, you out there picking cotton, right? Sun up to sundown.
Right.
You work from what time to what time?
Sun up to sundown, essentially.
Okay.
Right now.
So let me ask you this question.
All
So
right.
if we're out there going and say, hey, look, the only way that I'm able to survive is to be able to get my money from who?
Them. I see.
So slavery is not gone. It's just tried to disguise
Just
itself.
transformed into a new.
Just disguised itself. Didn't transform into anything different. Hey, look, the plantation owners and the plantation workers. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's the same exact thing.
So I don't know if you ever heard, like, I think last year, Kanye West said, like, slavery is a choice. I don't know if you heard about that. So do you agree with that kind of stuff? Because I agree, actually. And, one is, like, the working system, but also, like, with the education and the things that we value as important that are programmed to us,
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, we have an option to get out if we educate ourselves, like you're saying, educate and execute, But a lot of people want to stay in the rat race. They don't even realize that you're being enslaved, but you can actually get out. It's not like it's illegal to get out. What
happens is that people are in proximity of different things. And what I mean by proximity is if everybody's around you is working a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all you see from when you were a toddler till when you're an adult or a teenager or the case might be.
Yeah.
Then you think that's just normal.
Right.
And because you think it's normal and you think about stepping out of that, then people start to reprimand you because of it. Oh, why? What do you mean you're going to start a business? What are you talking about? Why would you do that?
The herd is kind of keeping you in check.
Just keeping you in. Like crabs in the barrel.
Yeah.
Crab try to get out. What do they do? They're going to grab them.
Yeah.
And then pull them back down. Like we're all just trying to be able to get out. But if you don't know any different, then you can't expect for anything to be able to change. My whole family is entrepreneurs. Whole family's entrepreneurs.
So it's kind of bred into you.
It's bred into me.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a long, long time. But at the same time, I have friends, their families, blue collar, 9 to 5s. And that's all they want to do. That's all they want to do. When you talk about making any kind of money over $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, they're like, I can't do that, man.
Well, that block is there. That mental block is already there. But
it's a training. It's a programming.
Which is true.
Yeah.
But I also think in some people, maybe they are fit better, their skills and like the way they look at stuff. They may, because I don't think that everyone is built for entrepreneurship necessarily. I mean, maybe tendencies, maybe some kind of characteristics or qualities, but maybe some people really just preferred having 9 to 5, and, which is okay. I don't think it's a problem,
Yeah.
But I think it comes back to like being self-aware and auditing yourself, what you really want, like really. So
we need everyone. We need rich people. We need homeless people. We need people that do the cogs in the wheel. Yeah,
for sure.
Everybody's needed in some part.
This
it just depends on, are you going to be willing enough to be able to go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to change my position in this system, or am I going to stay this cog in the wheel for my whole entire life?
Yeah.
And that's where it's at. So, and like you say, like, let's see, what's the name of the book? The
Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No, the E-Myth. So there's people that are that are good as business people, but they're not good with executing the business. There's people that are good at executing the business, but they're not good business people. And because of that, they wonder when they go jump out on their own to go do business, because you don't know how to operate a business, then you think that it doesn't work or it was a bad idea for you because you weren't trained in how to be able to run a business.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so
that's
now
true.
when you go out there and you say, hey, look, I want to be able to do this. I'm an electrician or I'm whatever the case might be, even a financial banker. Okay, I get this part. I know finances. Okay, great. Now, but I didn't know about customer acquisition. I didn't know about marketing. I didn't know about client retention. I didn't know about budgeting. I didn't know about all these different things that someone else is taking care of, because now someone else is taking care of it. I didn't have to think that. Now I'm thinking like I can go out and start my business and not worry about any of that stuff. Now you can hire those things, which is a good thing, but when you first start out, you want to learn how to be able to do as much as you can, because
I agree.
You want to make sure that the person, number one, is doing what they need to do. Number two, you want to make sure that you can be able to train somebody if need be. And then number three, you want to make sure that you make those systems so no matter who's in it, forget the people. Create the systems. When you create the systems, you can plug anybody into it.
Because you just got to teach them what the system, how the system
works. That's why McDonald's is so successful. Think about that. McDonald's is ran by teenagers.
That is very true. And they bought, and one thing that what McDonald's did do is they really bought a lot of land and properties. Well, I mean, they're smart.
But see, the thing is, people that think that McDonald's is in the hamburger business. They're not. They own some of the best real estate in the world.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And they use McDonald's to be able to pay for the real estate. And so
that's just crazy. That's very smart. That. I mean, that's how they became so like everywhere.
That's the way.
That was they were like literally they were like we're not a burger joint. We're real estate. It's just run through burger.
The money, the asset is the land that they'll be able to keep in their family and their company for years and years and years. Talking about prime location. The only people that have better real estate than them is the Catholic Church, but they've bought great real estate. Yeah, and then they say, okay, now we're going to create a system that will be able to pay for that real estate forever. So now we can be able to keep, which is what you really want, the assets, the lord of your land, to be able to make sure that you have what you have to be able to pass it on to your kids.
Yeah, because essentially it pays for itself.
It pays for itself. But see, people think that it only works for big business. I have a friend out here that lives in Lancaster, and she owns daycares.
Okay.
But she buys new houses and then puts a new location of her daycare in it every time she buys a new house. It's the same concept that McDonald's is doing. She's just doing it in daycare.
But she built the system already.
She started
for the daycare.
So have it run. So now when it runs, making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, it takes care of that house. But guess what? 10, 15, 20 years down the road, if she says I'm retiring, she's got 10, 15, 20 houses paid off. She can give some to her kids, but now she's worth millions of dollars because of it. So
which
that's
is
what you have
so
to look at that. Like, you can do the same thing.
Okay. So I want to bring like a tangible result, because you're talking about systems, right? So what is a process for you for building systems? Because I'm sure people out there listening like, oh, that's a good idea. I can build systems, but like, how do I do that? Like, so like, what do you do if you're going into a business, like, and you want to have it sustainable? What are some things that you picked up along the way to like build a system that you can plug in virtually? I mean, not anybody, but anybody, and just have them follow through the manual and they can do it.
Well, one of the things I do is I first look for a model, a business model, for someone that has already done it.
Okay.
Just nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, this is very true. Very true.
Go find someone that's been successful at it. And look at their system. Does it work?
Right.
And if it works, implement that system.
Got you. Okay.
If you want to build your own system, which I do as well, one of the things you do is this. Okay, this is a starting point. This is the results that they're after.
Okay.
How many steps will it take to get to the end result?
So, which is, I like you use the end result.
Yes. So you want to have the end result. So let's just say I have a client, right? So they want to be able to go and say, this right now is where I'm at.
Okay.
I have a diabetic test strip business. I buy and sell diabetic test strips. Right now, I have an overstock of diabetic test strips. Okay. But my end result is I want to be able to pay for some bills or whatever the case might be. So I need money. All right. So what do I need to do in those steps to be able to create a system? Well, step number one. Okay. What am I looking for? What is my clarity? Okay. I'm looking for these 4 brands. One Touch Ultra, Aviva Plug, whatever the case might be. Okay. What's the next step? I need to be able to find those people. So I need to market.
Got you. Okay. Got it.
So what am I going to do now to start marketing, which will be the subcategories?
Okay. Got it.
Next after that, then I'll need to be able to meet with them. So it's going to be customer acquisition. So once I do that, okay, great. Now what's after that? Now the process is I need to be able to clean those boxes or get them prepared to be able to go back to the market. Okay, great. Now once I've done that and cleaned the boxes up, now I need to be able to go and be able to sell those to my end buyer. Okay, now that I went and go and sold those to my end buyer, now I get paid, and now I get to repeat the process all over again.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
very clear cut.
Each step gets me in a system. So then you have to go deep into that one particular step. It doesn't matter what the business is. Find a model if you can. If not, okay, then sit down and actually get by yourself and write on a piece of paper, not just in your head, just put it on paper. It down, you need to write it down and make it crystallized to be able to bring it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
What is the first step? I need to find customers. Or let's not even talk about business. Okay, I need to clean my kitchen. I clean my kitchen with a system. Okay.
Here, I'll do one for you. Okay. Let's do the podcast. Okay. So let's run and do it, because this would be good actually for their listeners too. For people starting a podcast, this would be good for you too. So, say you want to build a podcast, and you want to talk about, I don't know, let's say you are a construction worker who remodels kitchens, and you want to build this podcast around that to get more customers or whatever, make more money, So where do you start? Like where would you go?
Let me first look up on Google, YouTube, what are the top 3 to 5 podcasts that are already doing it?
Okay. All right.
Let me consume some of their information.
Okay.
How are their intros? How are their outros? What are the topics that they're talking about?
Got you. Okay.
Now, once I got that information, which is R&D, as I say, research and development, then I'm going to say, okay, now, am I able to implement this system to be able to bring those things out? Also do more research. Again, okay. Let's look at what other people are looking for. Get on the forums, get on things like that to be able to know.
Got you.
What do people actually want to talk about?
Right, because you don't want to talk about stuff that no one's talking about. Like, hey, like someone's talking about like grout, and it's like no one's ever researching this. They're looking at, the cabinets or, the type of color for kitchen or whatever it is. Okay.
You can be able to build it so quickly because people will tell you what they want.
That's very true.
You just have to listen. Okay, so now that I did my research and development. Okay. So right now I want to get it to market as fast as possible. What are the essential things that I would need to be able to get a podcast going? Got you, okay. Now I'd be able to do that. Okay, I'm going to get on YouTube. I'm not scared of it, nothing like that. I'm going to get on YouTube. Hey, beginner wanting to be able to find out about a podcast. What are some of the things that I need for a podcast? Just type those general things. The way Google is right now, man, they will bring back information. It's just crazy. That is true. I need a mic. I need to make sure that I have my software. I need to make sure I have my, whatever case might be that you're going to have, whether it's lighting, whether it's camera, stuff like that. Okay. How many of those things do I already have? Okay. Great. Now, how many things do I need to go get? To be able to get the viable, just minimum that I need. Just to get it going. Just to get it going. And as you begin to process and things to be able to move forward, then you can be able to add more and more things. Build into it. You don't have to have the $100,000 things right from the beginning. If I know I got a clear mic, I know I need to have a camera, a great light, and software, then those are the 4 things that I need. Let's just say you don't have no money. Okay, who can I borrow it from? Little brother, can I borrow your laptop from school for 4 hours out of the week so I can be able to get this done? Hey, look, there you go. I know those lights over there that you're not using right now. Can I borrow them? Can I rent them from you? Hey, can I do work for them? Then you're starting to gather all the things that you need. Okay.
But you see that mindset, which I want to point this out. Like, all this is very true, what you're saying. Yeah. But there are people that have that mental block of there's no way, or I can't, or I don't know how, and or even when this comes out, even with confidence too, like because like doing a podcast, it may not be, it's hard to do just for some people, Yes. But what I've learned, because I've been doing this podcast for a few months now, and now going through it, yes, you get confidence. The way you get your confidence up in certain things or skills is by doing it. Like that, I think that's the fast track way. You want to get confidence into lifting weights, you got to lift weights. I mean, you just got to do the thing that you are unconfident of. Oh, yes. And then you'll get confidence. If it's like even guys who are like scared to talk to girls, it's like the way to get confident is to approach and talk to women or have a conversation. And then you will just get better because you learn from those little mistakes, or you're not mistakes, you're learning. So back to that whole conversation before about the way you look at it. It's not a failure because she rejected you. You just learned that this probably didn't work for this type of person or for this, so that's true. Yeah, I agree with the things you're saying 100%.
Oh yeah, and then you think about this when you go into like a restaurant or something like that, and the person just messing up. I'm talking about just messing up. Yes. And they're like, I'm sorry, I'm new. And because of the things that they're doing, they're new. They're new. Whoa. And one thing I always tell people when they're new, and I don't know why it puts people at ease. It always puts me at ease when I'm learning something new. Is every master was once a disaster.
Yeah, this is true.
Because a master was once a disaster, guess what? You keep working at it. Yeah. Keep working at it. And then you'll become a master if you stick with it. Yeah, but so of course, when you look at it from like, I don't want it to be able to mess up. And it's not really about messing up. It's about what people are going to think about me.
So insecurity and valuing other people's judgments.
Because one of the top fears of people is public speaking.
Well, public speaking? Oh, yeah, for sure. Sure.
It's public speaking. So if people know that they're going to be judged, whether it's in their mind or actually be judged, then it makes them think differently. Yeah, for sure. But if you're saying, I'm putting this out because I want to be able to affect somebody, and you have a strong enough why, then you'll get past those fears.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Have you had a problem with public speaking before? Were you ever something I had an issue with?
I've never had a problem from the standpoint of I'm too scared to do this. I'm like,
you'll do it even if you're a little scared.
I'm a little nervous, but I want to be able to move forward. See, my thing is what I had an issue with is I was a very private person. I still am. So when I have a lot of stuff going on in my background, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I want that to get out. Like people start, you start doing stuff, you start getting bigger with stuff. People start researching and stuff like that. So because I was more of a private person, I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do that. That's the only thing about public speaking that I was kind of shy away from. But other than that, no, because I've been, playing sports. You got to get out there and perform. I've done some acting a little bit, or Kiss My Beat, just some commercials.
I did not know you acted. That's so funny. Like,
what? I've been doing plays for a long time, so it's been just local stuff, nothing like on the major TBN or nothing like that. But but it helped me out because it really developed me to say, okay, you're around these people, you need to be able to. You have those nervousness and those jitters and stuff like that. Yeah. But you have to perform.
Yeah, coming from somebody who was horrified of public speaking, would run away at every chance of, even like in school, like I wouldn't even, if I had to like present a paper, I just wouldn't do the paper. That's how bad it was. It was at the point like I would like no, or if I did get up there, it'd be just crack voice, shaking, the worst. Like I feel like I was one of the worst. And so now running a podcast, now having to give a word in my church and all these things, the other side of it is it's actually never as bad as your mind makes it up to believe. It's not like you're going to get there and burst into flames and die. No. You may embarrass yourself a little bit. Most people, and the thing with, you're saying with judgment, you're saying like you go up there and you think people are judging you or you're judging yourself. Oh yeah. The thing is, even if you don't go up there, people are going to judge you. Even if you don't say anything, people will still look in the crowd and judge you. They can look at the way you dress or what you said or how you walk or how you act. They're going to judge you anyways. They're going to do it. So at this point, you might as well speak your truth or speak your point, what you want to say.
Look, they're going to judge you whether you're doing good or bad. So you might as well do as good as you can.
Exactly.
That's why you have to look at it. But you know what? Most people, when they're doing those things, and in life in general, just not public speaking, when it's game time, that's when they're trying to take the time to practice.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not time to practice.
I did that. I didn't even go over it.
Look, no, that's not time
Lord
to practice.
Jesus?
You need to be able to practice it way before then. Come on now.
That's just true.
You got to be shooting in the gym before you get to the game. Like, for real, man, most people don't do that. They're like, oh, like, you rehearsed it one time. Like, I do a spoken word as well. And, man,
really,
hundreds of times of going through it.
You're a very methodical type of person. Like I feel like the way you are, you're very methodical. You're very calculated. You're very like particular task. Like everything's laid out, planned out really well. Man, is that you?
When you're in foster care and people are looking to be able to do some things to you they shouldn't be doing, or you were raised by drug dealers, strippers, and and people like that, you learn the streets. You have to be that way.
Sure.
And then you go from the standpoint of, I always like doing it both ways, the spiritual way and then the worldly way. I want to be able to communicate to people both ways. So no matter whether it's a spiritual side where I can touch their spiritual man, or whether it's the, hey, this is the way the world is. I want to be able to adapt to people like that, because I know you can help people. You just have to meet them where they're at. Yeah. You can't talk big words and stuff like that to be able to think that you're going to teach somebody. Like I taught somebody about piano, and they were a game maker. Hey, look, you need to learn these things. These people. Hey, this is your big homie. This is your small homie. Like, these are the sets you can do. Like all that stuff. But
that's good.
They got it. They got it because they understood you met them where they were at. And so that methodical thinking that you're talking about, like when I speak, I know I need to be able to impact a person. Right. And the only way to impact them is you have to really think about it. Like, how are you going to touch that person emotionally? Who is your audience? Who are you actually speaking to? You can't sit there and sit up with a bunch of bankers that has never been to the hood, never know what it is,
and talk.
You can't do it. And vice versa. Somebody that say, hey, look, I wear gold chains, Jordans, stuff like that. Why do I need to get in a suit?
Yeah, I understand. I get that.
So it's like you have to be able to speak to people where they're at, and then slowly elevate as much as you can. And it's not a big jump. It's, hey, look, let me tell you about what a liability is. Right. What's an asset? Okay, let me try to be able to mix that in. Like, okay, a liability in the quickest way, like Robert Kiyosaki says, which makes a lot of sense. Hey, assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out of your pocket.
Made it so easy,
like,
so clear.
Nobody, you don't have to think about that. Like, so
like,
when you're
so whatever I'm buying that's bringing money in, asset. Whatever's taking it away, liability. So this car I'm about to buy it, I'm not going to do anything but stunt. it's probably a liability.
It's probably a liability.
If I'm buying this Prius, I'm going to do Uber and it's saving, that's probably an asset.
Definitely.
Same thing, different perspective on how you can use it.
Definitely. You look at it from that standpoint, you want to say, okay, that's good. Then we take them up another level. Hey, now how can you, because I want to ask questions, how can you turn this liability into an asset now?
And you know what? Sorry to cut you off, but it's crazy because I was in college for interpreting. I was going to do sign language interpreting.
Oh, yes.
And what they taught me was it's not about necessarily just signing. It's about signing in the way that the person will understand the sign language, So you get people with different levels of sign language that they know everything, like they're born and raised, you kind of learn, and you got to meet the person with the signs that they use. Some people would do like a pee, like when you're going to use the bathroom, like a pee, like you gesture, like you're going to pee. There's some of you actually do the word, So what that taught me was, which I didn't really think about this until now, was you got to learn how to communicate to the person where they're at. But also, you got to realize, is this person willing to change their perspective or anything about themselves? And did you open them up enough to see the benefits of what you're trying to say? Because sometimes you can be talking to somebody, meeting them at their language, where they're at, but they don't even really care, or they're not even trying to change, or they're not even trying to learn the piano, So a big thing to piggyback with what you're saying is also, is out of the person, say, is this person actually trying to learn, or am I just forcing my whatever I think on them? Because that's one thing I guess I did. Probably talk to people and they didn't really care. I'm like, why don't you get this? This will be beneficial for you. I don't understand why you don't you want to get change your life and be happy and this and that. But then they're just not even there. So it's me wasting my breath. Well,
it's because you sometimes you're not able to show the benefit of why it would help them. Like, people don't understand that you can get $1 million using your credit the right way.
That is very true.
But
that is very true.
I don't want $1 million. Well, okay, let me talk to you like this. You'll be able to buy your mom's house that you've been wanting since you were a little kid if you get your credit together. Now I have their attention because it's what they wanted.
You hit on you found what they wanted.
And then be able to go from there. And then you ask questions, open-ended questions, not close-in yes or no. Ask them questions to make them think. And then be able to go from there. And one thing I like to do with my wife, doesn't work that well, but and the one I do with my kids, I don't want to hear I don't know or I can't. Those two things you can't do. When we're having conversations, don't do it. Don't do it. Because you automatically shut your mind down. I don't know how to make this much money. I don't know how to be able to change this. I can't do this. When your mind automatically, because you're speaking that, it will begin to manifest that.
Man, that is so true. That is so true.
You have to be careful.
That is so true, because I don't think people understand how powerful what you just said is, because literally you can speak the stuff. You can speak not knowing into existence.
Come on.
You can speak knowing into existence.
Come on.
Literally, and it sounds so simple. It sounds so just speak it. But really, that's the real meat and potatoes. What you speak and how you talk to yourself. And if you say you can't do it, then you're probably not going to do it.
That's true.
Really, if I just don't know, I'm shutting off my brain for the idea of figuring out how to know.
Definitely.
And you're going with the first thought of I don't know, and there's no information. Instead, be like, I wonder if there's a way I can figure this out. Even you still don't know. You're still saying you don't know. But you're coming with the perspective of is there a way I can figure out, because I don't know at this point. So is there an option? Is there something I need to figure out or I can figure out? And that is one of the single-handedly biggest pieces that I think that people and myself, I had to learn that, but people, some people don't realize that speaking that into existence, speaking the things you don't want, or I don't want to have a bad day, but you're talking about the bad day.
Come on.
I don't want this to happen, but you're only speaking about the thing you don't want to happen, and not even the thing that you want.
And that's what you attract, because that's what you're using your words for. But see, a lot of people are not trained that way. They don't know how powerful the words are. They don't know how much it creates their life.
I agree.
And then, if people want to do it from a worldly standpoint. Hey, look, the story you're telling yourself is the one you'll believe.
You're manifesting the story. You are manifesting the story.
Whether you look at it from a spiritual perspective, where it's, hey, look, you speak those things and they shall become flesh, or you look at it from, this is the story you're telling yourself, so you'll start to believe it. Either way, you can hit them both ways to be able to let them know, hey, look, we're similar paths. You just think differently. It's the same thing I'm gonna bring you back to, which is the scriptures.
Exactly. It's already there. It's just you don't want to believe that.
And,
Fine, but I'll give it to you this way.
To go from there. And you're like, okay, I'm going to speak this, I'm going to speak that. And where I see is it's a big danger zone for a lot of people is that they are on the journey, and then there's the breakthrough, but then there's that little spot right before the breakthrough that most people give up.
And that's the sad part, because you don't even realize how close, or it's like you're that one song away from making it big.
Definitely.
But you've been doing it for 7 years, 6 years, and now you're like,
I don't want to do this no
and then
more.
that one last one would have hit, but you just quit.
It would have been a banger.
You know?
It would have been a banger for real. And then, but then, a lot of people, which is sad too, is that I told you it wasn't going to work. The people that they're around. I told you this wasn't going to happen. Why are you over here chasing these dreams? That's not going to pay your bills. That's not going to be able to get you that way. And then because of that, then they're like, okay, I need to go get a 9-to-5 now. This business thing doesn't work.
Right.
Or you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have fell in love because that's not going to work. That's for other people. That's not for me. And then they become unhappy. Les Brown used to say it all the time. He said, most people die at 25 and get buried at 65. It's the same exact thing.
Wow, that is true.
You die way before you get buried in most cases.
And that's crazy because it's off of somebody else's belief. I mean, you really look at it, somebody else put the belief in you, and then you took it and adapted it as your own when it was never yours in the first place.
Come on now. It says your opinion of me does not have to become my reality.
Yes.
It does not have to become my reality.
Yeah.
But as soon as you accept it, and what's sad is that it comes from people that we respect, we love, we care about.
Yeah, and they probably
parents.
have the best intentions. But they're just only coming from a place that they understand.
They understand.
You know, and I totally get that, man. That's something that's really hard. It took me a long time to break because it wasn't necessarily that, but I always kind of pushed it, myself.
Yes.
But I was like where other people's opinions would affect me, and it was something heavy on me, and it wasn't something that was easy to break. And I noticed that for me, how I broke it was starting in different things and smaller things of saying no to, or not giving in this way, and then realizing like, okay, it's not even that bad. It's really not that bad. Like if I said no, it's like either I can say yes and disappoint myself, or say no and disappoint you. But someone's being disappointed anyways.
That's true.
So I might as well not disappoint myself, unless it's like it's worth it for you.
That is the truth. And most people, man, once you put yourself in a position where you do say no, most of the time they figure it out.
Yeah.
They really do figure it out. They don't really need your time. They just want it. And most people that want your time ain't going to be able to do anything to respect it.
Yeah,
so
true.
You have to be careful of that. My mom gets on me. She says, why do you have a cell phone if you never answer it? Why do you have a cell phone if you never answer it? My dad literally gets upset. He's like, I called you 3 times, but you're calling me when I'm trying to build my dreams.
Yeah, it's like I'm sorry, this is priority right now.
This is priority. I don't stop you from going to the doctor. Don't stop me from building my dreams.
Yeah.
And that's the way you have to look at it.
And that's hard because that's family, so it's hard because like that, especially people that are close. I can see how that's a hard to do.
It is.
But when you understand like the ramifications of if I take on this, I'm missing out on what I'm really going for, and you prioritize and really look at the priority of it. Like I may miss your call for an hour because I'm building on something that's going to take over in 10 years.
Oh yeah.
And so like when you actually understand that, it's a lot easier to say no. But I know there's a lot of people that like, your feelings get involved and you feel bad, and they make people make you feel bad about it, and you're gonna kind of like, But, so I've seen it.
Yeah, but you gotta have your why. It has to be stronger than that.
Yeah,
it has to be stronger than that. It can't be weak.
Yeah,
if you have a weak why, and
it'll just fold.
Most of the time when it's about you, it's weak, because you are used to giving up on yourself.
That is very true.
You're used to not fulfilling your dreams. I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, you know what? This didn't work out. I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
You know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna keep eating that pizza. Like you give up on you.
Yeah, that's true.
When you go and say, you know what? Because I do this right now, my kids will never have to work again. If I do this right now, my kids have the choice to be able to have a life that they want, that I can provide for them through God.
Amen. Yeah.
But if you don't do that, and you say, son, daughter, I try to spend much time with my kids, but I realize that there was a point in time where I have to get unbalanced for them to be able to live the way that they want to live.
Right.
My kids don't go into the refrigerator and say, hey, Dad, we don't have this, and then I'm not able to provide that one way or another.
For sure, yeah.
It's not going to happen. Or my kids want to go somewhere, my wife wants to go somewhere. It's not to the point where it's like, oh, we can't do this. Like, there's none of that. Because I've taken the time to be able to say, we need to build this
so we can do that.
So we can be able to do this. I'll say no to all these things so I can say yes to the things that matter the most.
I see.
And that's what you have to do. Say no to those things and realize that everything is not a priority and everything is not a fire that you need to put out right then and there.
That is very true. That's one thing. That is so good. That is so good because I still struggle with that. Some things like I lack sometimes in prioritizing the most important things at times.
Yes.
You know, and that's something I'm understanding and learning to develop. But I definitely get that, man.
Yeah.
I definitely get that.
Where is it at in your schedule? That's what I say.
And that's why it's so good to schedule stuff, man.
You have to. If you don't schedule stuff, then you leave it to the point where anything can move in its way.
That's true.
If I know from 7 to 9 I'm building my dream, nothing else means anything else. But you have to have that good enough why that's going to transcend every other thing that you may want to do also. But you gotta have that clarity first.
Yeah. And that goes down to like paying attention to yourself and getting to the roots of who you are and what you want.
And what you want to do.
Like really what you really want, not the surface want.
Yes.
Not the surface why, like to the deep core, why is this valuable to me?
And so I learned from Dean Graziosi. He's one of my mentors as well. He talked about the 7 layers of why, where you go down 7 layers. And most of the time when you get to that 7th layer, if you do it correctly, it'll make you emotional. And that's usually what is your biggest why.
Is the one that makes you the most emotional about? Yeah.
Because you get to that standpoint where the surface answer, I want to make a lot of money. Well, why do you want to make a lot of money? Well, I want to make a lot of money so my kids don't have to live like this no more. Well, why do you want your kids not to live like this no more? Because I want to make sure that my kids live a better life than I did. Well, why do you want them to live a better life than I did? I remember the days when we had nothing to eat
that
in the refrigerator. And I want my kids to ever have to experience that.
I see. You see that? Like, you see how the first 2 wires were so... I mean, that last answer was way deeper. Way deeper.
And we didn't even get to the 7th level.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this even just getting there for a second. It's like, that's much more of a powerful reason to stick to what it is from the surface ones. You know? I mean, I'm sure we can go deeper, but I can see how, like, going through the layers of whys.
We'll be able to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Because
most people are not equipped with the tools to be able to do that. And then they wonder why they go through life wanderously, because nobody's teaching. Nobody's teaching. Nobody's
and we need more black
books.
people. We need more black educators and more black people that are able to share this information, you know?
Yes.
And that's kind of what the podcast is about. It's about sharing information like this.
Yes.
And also opening your mind to different ideas and having discussions that may not be easy, but not being at the point is you don't got to hate somebody because we have a different opinion, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, we can have a civil opinion and totally disagree. I can say, like, the world is flat and you can say it's round, and we'll debate and hate our answers, but then it's fine.
You can agree to disagree.
Exactly, and that's the point. That's the point.
Nothing wrong with that at all. You just have different upbringings, different cultures, different things that you do. And sometimes, people have their opinions. Sometimes you know for a fact that it's not right, but most people get defensive if you say you're wrong. Yeah. And then, but it goes back to asking questions. How did you come to that conclusion?
And that's my thing is, like, I just want to know why. Like, I'm just so curious. Like, let me make sure we're good. Yeah, I just want to know, like, why you are the way you are, why you feel the way you feel. I just want to understand. Like, my thing is, I just want to understand because I want to see how you came to this conclusion. Because I didn't come to this conclusion. So how did you get there?
Most people was by the programming.
And that's so frustrating to do.
What? Like, my parents used to do this. Like, it's funny. One of the things I used to do that I caught myself on is I put money in my clothes in my closet. My dad did the same thing.
Oh, really?
For so long as he still does it. And I'm like, one day I was just put my finger in my coat pocket, and I was like, wow, my dad does the same thing.
Did you ever ask him why he does it?
No,
because it's funny how some things we do, and it was like, okay, there was a story about this lady. We're gonna wrap up after this, but there's a story about this lady, and I guess, like, every time she would cut like the end of her roast off before. Yeah, I think you may have heard this before. Yeah. And so the guy was like, why do you do that? And then she's like, oh, I don't know, my mom did it. That's what she did. And then so he asked the mom. The mom said, oh no, that's my grandma. That's my mom. Grandmother did.
Yes.
Then they asked the grandma, and the grandma was like, the reason why I cut it off is because it would never fit in the oven size we had it. So I had to cut off the end so it would fit. Definitely. And now you're doing stuff based on something that may not even apply to you at this point. And like things is like we just learned over just habitual, just looking at something or watching somebody. We don't even, there's things that we do we don't even understand. We just kind of do it.
That's the truth.
So it's very, very interesting about that story you said.
And I love stories like that because I like to translate them into other things.
Right.
Because people can then say, why are we poor? Why are we broke? Well, go talk to your mom. Go talk to your grandma. Go talk to your grandma.
See what habits that you learned.
Let me see why are we like this? What are the things that we're doing? Okay. Why is my family always bickering and fighting all the time? Go back to the root. What happened? If you can, some people they passed away or the kids.
Right.
But then you get to go to the standpoint like, okay, now I know why. Because they were bitter because this happened, but now it's affecting generations long after you. Yeah,
and even at that point, you can start with like, well, why am I doing this? And if it doesn't serve me, I can stop. And
being aware of it.
Yeah,
most people are not aware of things.
And that's the thing that people don't like. It's like especially right now, we're in a pandemic. We have so much time to think. So
definitely.
But yeah, we got to wrap this up, man. I don't want to end this discussion, but this was so good.
Thank you.
So you have a lot of knowledge, and I'm very thankful for you coming on the show. And I hope you come back again soon because I think I want to hit on some more stuff because everything we talked about today, we can go on and expand deeper,
no problem.
And I definitely want to have you on again.
No problem. Sounds good. We could do a part 2 if possible.
Oh, for sure.
God willing, I'm here to serve as much as I can.
Amen, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. You guys, thank you for tuning into this episode. If you got some value, sharing the value you got, sharing any tips that that you can help the community out, that we can build each other and help each other learn more and go through different levels of life, So I appreciate you guys for watching this episode. Until next time on episode 18 of Unpack Your Bag Podcast, we out here. Peace, love, and hair grease. Talk to you soon. Oh, that was good.
How you feeling? How you living? Yeah, how you feeling? How you chilling? Well, alright, from the floor to the ceiling, everyone in the building, if you feeling alright. Well, alright, how you loving? How you eating? Yeah, how you moving? How you breathing? Well, alright, from the floor to the ceiling, everyone in the building, if you feeling alright.